there wasn't an explanation for the tech that she got. You know, I think it was pretty obvious that stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better. They got to be better. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete.
Why does it feel like the WNBA is turning its back on Caitlin Clark? From Sophie Cunningham's controversial ejection to the constant physical abuse Clark faces on the court, fans are starting to ask tough questions. But the real shocker? The league's silence on Clark's safety could change everything about its future. Stay tuned to find out why this latest incident may push Clark to her breaking point and what it means for basketball's biggest rising star. Imagine this: you're Caitlin Clark stepping into the second half of a heated game. You've already been poked in the eye by JC Sheldon, shoved by Marina Mabrey, and fouled so many times it no longer surprises anyone. And just when things couldn't feel more overwhelming, Sophie Cunningham, your enforcer, your protector, gets ejected. For what? Stepping in to defend you during a scuffle. It's a moment that left fans furious and brought one glaring question to the forefront. What exactly does the WNBA expect its players to endure?
Can you specifically detail what you mean by get control of the game, just to be in your words?
Get control of the game is call the fouls that are actually happening on the floor. Right, and consistently call the fouls that are actually happening on the floor.
And then what did you make of Sophie Cunningham's flagrant foul on JC towards the end?
It was a flagrant foul.
Do you think it's like defending Caitlin or defending the team, or how do you view just how it all?
I view it as a flagrant foul.
Coach, do you think it's something pertaining to your team, or do you think this is a league-wide issue?
Well, I've seen quite a few dust-ups in the league so far, so I think it's a league-wide issue. I mean, bad officiating is bad officiating.
Let's back up a second. This went down in the Indiana Fever's game against the Connecticut Sun, a matchup that had tension from the opening whistle. JC Sheldon set the tone early, swiping at Caitlin's face on what was supposed to be a clean play, but it left Clark momentarily staggering and clutching her eye. Then you had Marina Mabrey during the same sequence, shoving into Caitlin with clear frustration after losing a battle for positioning. It wasn't just physical, it felt personal, and anyone watching saw what came next. Cunningham, known for never backing down, stepped in. She didn't throw punches or escalate things to an unthinkable level, but the referees made their decision clear. Sophie was out of there.
I'll ask about the game too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys came for basketball.
Yeah,
Let's talk about basketball.
Yeah.
Come on now.
What do you think of just how you all were able to pull away in the second half, Caitlin, in particular?
We're going to the Commissioner Cup Championship.
Let's
That's
go!
pretty exciting. You know, we kind of got over the hump there, and then we're able to grow our lead in the fourth quarter. They even cut it to 10 in the fourth quarter, and I thought we really responded well, and we're able to open it up for a pretty comfortable win.
What do you think, again, in the second half allowed you all to create some distance there, and what can you build on going into that cup final?
I thought we were physical on defense. I think that's where we lacked in the first half. I think the first half we had moments where we're up 10, we're up 8, we're up 12.
For fans of Clark and the Fever, this call felt insulting. The whole situation wasn't about setting a standard or keeping the game clean. It was more like punishing the one player who dared to stand in the way of what felt like unchecked aggression against Caitlin. When Cunningham walked off the court, you could practically hear the collective outrage across social media. How do you eject her? One fan tweeted, when Caitlin's the one being targeted. And they weren't wrong. Cunningham wasn't just any teammate. She's the kind of player who doesn't hesitate to put her body on the line, the one who makes opponents think twice before crossing the line. And her ejection didn't just feel unfair, it left Caitlin more exposed than ever. Let's be real, Caitlin's style of play comes with attention. She's dazzling, she's competitive, and she's never afraid to call someone out for their antics. But the flip side of all that flair is the aggressive treatment she's received constantly on the court. Cunningham's role isn't just about her stats. Her presence is a deterrent, a signal that there's someone watching Caitlin's back in those intense moments. Without Cunningham, the game shifted entirely. Every double team turned rougher, every collision felt heavier. Clark still carried herself like the star she is. But you could see the weight of it all stacking up. And the officials, they didn't seem particularly moved. Here's where this gets especially concerning. If we look at the numbers, Caitlin isn't just the most fouled player on her team. She might be one of the most fouled stars in the league. Defensive schemes revolve around not just shutting her down, but physically wearing her out. In a post-game interview earlier this season, a rival coach essentially admitted, you let her get comfortable, she'll drop 40 on you. You have to make her feel you physically. And let's not forget the optics of all this. The WNBA has been heavily promoting Caitlin since her rookie debut. Highlight reels, promotional campaigns. The league has positioned her as a central figure for its future, so why was it so easy to ignore the treatment she was receiving during this game? Cunningham's ejection only highlighted the problem. If Clark, the player pulling in massive ratings and new fans, can't rely on basic protections, what does that say about the league's priorities? It's not just a question of officiating anymore. It's a question of whether the WNBA sees the bigger picture when it comes to protecting the players who are driving its growth. It hurts to say, but Cunningham's ejection wasn't just about what happened in that moment. It sent out a clear message, one that didn't sit well with fans or even players across social media. If the WNBA doesn't have Caitlin Clark's back, then who will? And more importantly, what signal does that send to young players watching at home who dream of playing in this league? The narrative is shifting, and it's not for the better. So this is where things start to get uncomfortable for the WNBA. Was the ejection just bad officiating, or is this a symptom of something deeper? A reluctance, perhaps, to address an issue that could alienate the league's biggest rising star. It's not just about one bad call. It's about how such moments define the league's approach to its players and their safety. That idea alone is enough to make you ask, how far will the WNBA go before it risks losing its most valuable asset? You know what's crazier than Sophie Cunningham's ejection? The WNBA's complete silence on the way Caitlin Clark gets treated every time she steps on the court. It's become kind of a pattern at this point. Hip checks, hard shoves, even straight up fouls that somehow don't get called. And let's not forget the poke in the eye from JC Sheldon that had Clark literally clutching her face on the floor. The abuse isn't subtle, and honestly, it's getting harder to watch. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player, she's the player, the one driving record numbers for the league. Before she got here, the WNBA rarely came up in mainstream sports conversations. But the second Clark hit the scene, everything changed. Packed arenas, sold out jerseys, triple-digit percentage increases in TV viewership. She's more than a player. She's the kind of star that league executives dream about. So why does it feel like they're letting her down when she needs them most? Take just one game as an example. Marina Mabrey shoved her so hard that fans online wondered if they were watching basketball or football. The officials, not a word. No calls, no reviews, just silence. And this stuff adds up. Physical aggression against Clark has gone unchecked so often that it's almost become normalized. Fans see it, opposing players see it, and the worst part is, Clark herself clearly sees it. At this point, the WNBA's lack of action is becoming impossible to ignore. What makes it worse is the glaring contrast between what the league promotes and what it enforces. On one hand, they plaster Clark's face across highlight reels and marketing campaigns, framing her as the future of women's basketball. But on the court, they're letting her get knocked around like she's not the single most valuable asset they've got. That kind of hypocrisy is creating a growing rift, not just between the fans and the league, but between Caitlin's supporters and those responsible for protecting the game's biggest stars. And let's not understate this. Clark is single-handedly elevating the WNBA's profile. When she joined the league, it wasn't just her jaw-dropping scoring averages or her court vision. It was her magnetism. People want to watch her. They buy her jersey, follow the clips, stream the games. Viewership skyrocketed when she debuted, and when she missed games due to injury, ratings tanked by more than 50%. That's the difference she makes. She's not just important to the game, she's crucial to the league's survival. Think about it. If the WNBA is benefiting this much from Clark's presence, how do they justify not protecting her? She leads the league in assists, dishes out incredible scoring performances, and creates moments that go viral nearly every game. Add to that the financial boost she's brought, like how her jersey became the top selling of any athlete in all of sports when it was released. And you start to realize just how much the league owes to her success. The WNBA stands at a crossroads. Caitlin Clark isn't just another star, she's the league's lifeline, driving historic spikes in viewership and revenue. But allowing unchecked aggression against her risks everything. When Clark missed games due to injury, viewership dropped by 55%. That's how vital she is to this league. Fans, players, and even sponsors must demand better officiating now. The Protect Caitlin Clark movement has already shown the power of activism to spark conversation and push for accountability. If the league doesn't protect its brightest star soon, this neglect could mark the beginning of its biggest downfall yet.